Quantum States by Paul Lell. Narrated by A.J. Ferraro. We are what they grow beyond. That is the true burden of all masters. Master Yoda, The Last Jedi. For all those who have ever needed a friend to help them get through a rough spot, whether they knew it at the time or not. Prelude.
There she is! Get her!
The leader of the private army belonging to one Edward Bernstein shouted. He pointed between the two massive air handlers on the roof of the building with the index finger of his left hand, the little submachine gun in his right held at an oblique angle to the floor. It wasn't pointed at her, but it didn't need to be, on account of the 10 other armed fighters charging past him in the direction he was pointing. The issue with all of the shouting and pointing was that Ocelot's retreat down the narrow gap between those same air handlers was still very much underway. When the weapons started to chatter, their tiny but surprisingly lethal projectiles boring holes into the metal of the roof's machinery, she only just managed to slip around the corner and out of their line of fire. Fragments of bullets and torn-up sheet metal showered the area for a moment before the guns went silent again, replaced by the sounds of tromping boots and whispered directions. Leaping forward, she twisted around to fire a couple of covering rounds back toward her pursuers, while she charged another 10 feet to the increased safety of the small concrete and metal structure a few paces from the air handler she had paused behind. Another round of chatter from their little submachine guns followed her, tearing out chunks of concrete and sending pea gravel from the roof in every direction as she spun around the corner, grabbing a protruding cable riser to change the direction of her full-speed dash and launch herself into the wall. The gunfire ceased the moment she was behind cover. For the first time in a long time, she physically checked herself for evidence of bullet wounds. Most rounds would leave no doubt about their impact, but these guys were using top-of-the-line equipment and subsonic rounds that had some kind of armor-piercing enchantments on them. Something like that could pass through a person's body so cleanly that it would feel like a splinter, or like they'd caught their shoulder on something while running around a corner. Under those circumstances, they might keep running, fighting, and exerting themselves, keeping their heart pumping at maximum. Then, the next thing they'd know, they'd be bleeding to death from a through-and-through that clipped an artery. These guys were professionals. There was no doubt.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?